This is really important to me from a sentimental standpoint, because I grew up with Johnny Cash, hearing all of his music at every racetrack in the United States you can imagine. My name is Mike Howard. I'm a retired U.S. Marine who was born in 1954. This was about the same time that Johnny Cash's career started. My dad made sure I was brought up on Johnny Cash. Dad was raised by his grandfather, Charles S. Howard, who owned the Ridgewood Ranch just south of here in Willits and Seabiscuit. Dad grew up on the Ridgewood Ranch before joining the Marine Corps during World War II. After the war, like his father and grandfather before him, he entered the horse racing business. My earliest musical memories growing up in the 1950s and 60s were of Dad playing and singing Johnny Cash. Dad was always encouraged by what Johnny Cash had overcome and the folks that he represented and defended. Cash's music was mesmerizing with its great tunes and riveting lyrics. Part of the magic of Johnny Cash was his voice. It was simple, distinct, not intimidating, so average folks like me and my dad could also sing his songs. And the stories behind the music were down to earth and powerful. Dad loved Ring of Fire and Folsom Prison Blues, which Greg is also really good at. So I got to sing along. Dad loved the duet of Jackson, in which Johnny Cash does a great duet with his talented wife, June Carter Cash. One that also meant a lot to Dad and to me was the Ballad of Ira Hayes. Ira Hayes was a Pima Indian, Arizona native like I am. I was born in Tucson. Ira Hayes was one of the Marines on top of Mount Suribachi in February of 1945 during the famous flag raising. It was the most horrible battle of Marine Corps history. 6,821 Marines were killed, 26,000 wounded. The song is a tragic song that reminds us of how poorly Native Americans were often treated in a land that was once theirs. Ira Hayes' Pima tribe, like the Navajo, had always been faithful to the U.S. Both tribes answered the call in World War II. The Navajo in particular, the Marine Corps used them with their gift of their native language as code talkers. The Japanese were never able to interpret and to translate what our messages were because of that unique gift through Native Americans. Yes, my memories of Johnny Cash and his popularity with my dad and on my upbringing are strong and personal. During the 1960s decade of disillusionment, Johnny and June Carter Cash represented to me an honest, retrospective, hopeful side of America that was sincere and from the heart. I saw this again in 2003 through 2005 during my 2 tours in the Iraq War, when Johnny Cash was one song in particular that was really popular with all of our troops. It was based on the Bible's book of Revelation, and the song was called When the Man Comes Around. He wrote it in 2002, so if you get a chance, I hope you'll really listen to it. In an interview I once heard when asked about who the man was, Johnny Cash said the man was his personal savior, Jesus Christ. His wife, June Carter Cash, was also a Christian and an encouragement to him throughout his career. Toward the end of his life, he recorded his favorite album, a tribute to the Bible hymns that his mother had brought their family up on. The album is called My Mother's Hymn Book, and my favorite song on it is his recording of When the Roll is Called Up Yonder. Johnny Cash was very popular at every racetrack I ever spent time at, particularly with the working folks behind the scenes in the barn areas. And I know for a fact that he was very popular at the time of his wife's passing and his death shortly thereafter during the Iraq War. It was really an encouragement to me to see another generation grow up really appreciating who the Man in Black was. So if you have never really listened to him, nor seen the powerful 2005 Academy Award-winning film Walk the Line, please do yourself a big favor and discover what much of America did over the past 6 decades. Johnny Cash was the real deal, and he represents the American spirit of honesty, candid confession, and hopeful encouragement of what is really important in life. He always took the side of the underdog. The impact of his over 1,000 songs speak for themselves. They are truly monumental in American music history. Thank you, and enjoy the film.